Welcome to latest show. Today we're gonna clean up the OMEN. If you're not sure how to clean up things, this is the place to be. I'm gonna show you exactly. Now that you own this expensive machine, let's keep it up to date. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's running, because if this machine stops, a lot of people start stopping what they're doing just because of a freaking machine error that you could avoid. Not only you could avoid, but you could watch it and make sure that you're more thorough about these things, because if you invested on something like this, you want to make sure it's up to date. So let's go ahead and start. Air can, a couple of cleaning solutions I have here on my side. So we're gonna open it up. I opened it up, and if you notice, this is probably, I clean it every once a month, and it's super dirty as it is, like the whole thing on the top of it. I actually have a rag just to clean this top of it, make sure that I'm not getting any dust bunnies on it or anything like that. But you can't avoid dust. It's just a natural thing, part of the world how it is. So right now, pretty much dusting everything I can. Now let's clean up all this stuff out of here. Let's clean up the GPU. Why don't we get out the GPU and clean it up? So first of all, there's a couple power supplies here you have to disconnect, and it says P6, P10, and P6. So P6 is on the left. You take those off. Bam! That's what it is. You take them off, right? Now, let me bring this up a little bit more to speed. The thing that you want to do is basically remove this part of it. And this is a little tricky because there's a grip holding on to the whole thing in the back of it. And then it's the water cooling system. Make sure that the fan is nothing's compromising the fan, because this is cooling off the whole CPU. So you got to make sure that's not compromised. The hard drives, I have these two hard drives, but I'm not even running this hard drive at all. If you notice, it's not even connected. I'm just going to take it out. 2 terabyte hard drive's not even connecting, collecting dust in there. Make sure you're using a rag, no cotton. All right, make sure you use rags or something. You don't want cotton, because cotton gets stuck on the components. All right, make sure everything's clean, all the dust, the bottom of it. Make sure you're static free before you continue the work. Thorough clean of it, visualization, visual look. Everything seems like it's dusted clean. Air in the fan in front of it too. Make sure you clean that one. That's important. It's an intake here. Also, you could remove some of the front of it. We're not going to do that today because it's more complicated. You got to remove screws, but we are going to remove the GPU and clean the GPU also. All right, so stick around. Now we're going to remove this GPU from the actual motherboard. There's a metal component, aluminum components holding out the whole thing. We want to remove it so we could clean up a little thorough, because it takes like more than half of the video card, more than half of the space in here. There's 3 screws holding this component here, and we're going to remove it right now. So let's go ahead and start. Whole metal piece comes off here. It's easy to remove. You want to make sure you clean it. You don't want to remove the cables through, because it's a little complicated. You could actually pass the cables through it if you want, but that's up to you. Remove the whole component here. It's a little piece of metal. Go ahead and clean it up. Like cleaning up a gun almost, pretty much, you know? Simple. Now that we removed that part of it, there's dog hair in here. There's all sorts of things that you could access this stuff. The reason there's dog hair is because I do have a dog. Now you want to make sure you remove the GPU's screws too. Now that's been removed. There's a lot of dog hair in here that I got to remove. Make sure that it's nice and clean in some of these components. And now there's an important thing. There's a little button here. Let me see if you can see it. Right here, this button here. You push it down, and then you pull the card. You push it down, the card comes out. This is a 1080 Ti. Awesome little machine. See how dusty it is? super dirty in there. You want to make sure you clean it up thoroughly, because it's one of those things that you want to continue having, because this is over $1,000 video card in here. So you want to make sure that it's nice and clean along with the rest of the components in here. So this one, I'm gonna get off camera and do it. Woo! Look at all that dust. A lot of dust in here. Lots of freaking dust. Dust away. Dust everything out of here. Woo. The power supply especially the power supply. When you're putting the video card down, make sure you put it somewhere it's non-static, right? You don't want to ruin it while you're taking it out. Don't be afraid to put the straw in there and blow it out if you can. The hard drives too. Well, it's time to move along from the OMEN. I love the machine. I can't say anything bad about it. Cleaning it up, showing you guys how to clean your OMEN machine, and then taking it from there. So if you have any questions or any problems with me taking out this 1080, if you guys like what you just saw right now, and you guys more tips and tricks on this stuff, stick around, let me know, man. It's very simple. But before you commence on anything, I always tell people, buy these air cans. Buy cleaning stuff. Get an extra rag you have along that you don't need, and clean up other stuff. Try not to use cotton in here too much, because they get stuck with our little circuits and stuff like that. Try to clean up with a rag and alcoholic and alcohol too, just to clean up some of the components in here. Now do this at least once a month or every 2-3 months. I mean, some people have this for years, never even gone through this whole system. My recommendation, make sure you clean up once in a while, because if you spend the money on hardware this expensive, you want to make sure you keep up to date. And that's what I do a lot in my daily life. You know, I just clean up machines, keep them updating, add parts, replace parts. Those are the things that continue these machines for not failing. Now, if it fails on you, if it overheats, it's because sometimes it's something clogging or blocking the air. Now, if you have this under your desk, you're gonna have a problem. You make sure you have things away from, I mean, give it some inches away from so it could suck some air and it could blow some hot air. The hot air comes up to the back, the front air sucks in all the front air. So make sure you don't have books or anything in front of the computer, because that's one thing that messes up these computers when people just put them around stuff. They get damaged, and if they're running components just like this, if they're running components like this in here, and you don't want to get this damaged and replace it, because it's very expensive, like I said. And it's not undercover under certain warranties too, also, because there's a third party that sells it sometimes. Now, OMEN did come with a warranty. It takes about a year. Just when you purchase it, you have a year warranty. You have an extended warranty if you want to purchase it. But other than that, you just want to make sure you clean up this stuff and have it nice and neat. I had a bunch of dust bunnies in here that was just holding up the whole thing right here, which is crazy. So if you guys like what you see, make sure to subscribe to Late to the Show. I'm your host, Prophet74, and don't forget to check out my other channel. I have another channel just only about technical stuff, only components, only hardware, no gaming. It's all hardware related. So if you guys like this show, you want to maybe check out the other show, I'll put it up here in the corner. And if you guys like what you see, make sure you subscribe to Late to the Show. I'm your host, Prophet74, out.